Hey everyone, welcome to Uncanny J-Men. I am JADe,
I am Josh.
and now we are going to be discussing a new teaser trailer. Not
Mhm.
full trailer, it was a teaser. It was like a minute and a half for Thor Love and Thunder, the first real look we're getting into this new movie that'll be coming out.
Finally, it's coming out in like a month and a half, and they finally released something.
Here we go.
I am excited. I don't know if my
Yeah.
excitement is going to make me love the teaser trailer more than I should or not, but there were some really cool elements in that teaser trailer.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't give us a lot about like what the movie's going to be like strictly about, or like we never saw any villain or conflict really, and yet it was still. Oh my goodness, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
It feels like they're taking everything they learned about Ragnarok, for how they filmed that, some comedy of it, the stylistic elements that they did. Sakaar almost looks like they might be going back to Sakaar. There's a scene that I saw that looked like the junkyard a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, stylistically beautiful. They pulled things straight out of the comic books for shots. It looks really beautiful for a movie itself. Interestingly, it started off with like Thor running through the forest, aging up. We see classic costume as well, kind of showing that we've been seeing Thor on his own journey throughout his movies, which are now on his fourth movie, the first Marvel hero to have a fourth movie.
Mhm.
Besides Spider-Man, if you want to count that. Doesn't count in my book for that. But we see, yeah, this is talking about his story. He's always been a warrior, and this one starts off with him saying basically that he's retiring from fighting
Yeah.
and
Bit of a
burying the
surprise.
hatchet, if you may, with actually burying his Stormbreaker.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to me. Like I wasn't expecting this to be a retirement for him, but I mean,
Is it?
is it a retirement? You expect he's going to take things back up again, and if that retirement, as it was at the beginning of this teaser, if that actually is in the beginning of the movie, you know he's picking it back up since we saw him moving around again later.
Even he had Stormbreaker again later too, I believe we saw.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see Guardians of the Galaxy. They were in it briefly. Oh, somewhat briefly. I don't think they're going to be much in this movie. We just know that last time we saw Thor, he left with the Guardians
Right.
at the end of Endgame, and that's where he is. So it sounds like maybe they're going to be together for the very beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder, but then that speech that Quill gives about those you love and looking at them, maybe that cues him into going to see Jane Foster again. His crush love that he had, even though we saw it be a very brief love before the connection was lost for him getting back to Earth for so long. But I think that might cue him into going back and seeing her.
Could be. And on that note, I will say the scene where the Guardians are flying away from Thor and Korg. So I have grown to mistrust Marvel shows. So I'm looking for where the cinematography is a little off, because they're never off in their cinematography. So if it is a little off, then something's changed. And they love to change things. So the scene where they're flying off and it shows them taking off and looking back at Thor and Korg. Thor is center screen, Korg is to the right by our view, and there's just wide open space to the left.
Yeah.
I think someone else is staying behind with them.
You think what?
I think someone else is staying there with them, either from the Guardians or someone else they meet in the episode or in the movie. Maybe Jane, maybe he's already coming upon her at that point. And then they fly off and leave Thor, Korg, and Jane. I don't know, but there's got to be someone or something of significance there.
Yeah, I would say, like, I'm thinking it's not a Guardian, because why would they not show that to us? And also there's a Guardians 3 coming out, so I don't think they're going to separate the team. I don't think it'll be like Nebula, maybe. That would be the only one I could see them doing Guardians 3 without, but at this point, I don't see that happening, especially since it may be a Finding Gamora show. So I don't think it's any of them. I think it's going to be a new character, and a character that fans have wanted for a long time. I don't know who necessarily, because there's a lot that I could put in that spot. I mean, Hulk, you can even have with continuation of the like Ragnarok like relationship there. Introduce new characters that may be Thor adjacent. I mean, we've seen a frog Thor. You never know. You never know. Marvel can do anything. I don't think
They can.
but I agree. It was it was an obvious shot, in my opinion, that someone is going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we also see new Asgard with Valkyrie in charge, very still just kind of like laying back, like casual, but like very governmental suit, like everyone like UN like. There's a whole bunch of other countries there, military there. New Asgard is blooming with like ships there. There was big ships in the harbor, really big ships in the harbor.
Like cruise ships.
Cruise ships. Yeah, like it's a tourist place to go now.
Right.
But interestingly, also see in the harbor a flying ship, like an Asgardian ship, with Thor's goats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know Norse mythology, I know more than Egyptian mythology. We were just talking previously, a discussion video for Moon Knight about my Egyptian knowledge not being like that great. Norse, I've read a lot of Norse mythology. The names escape me, but Thor's two goats, I know of them. Having them, even if it's just a little Easter egg, really cool.
I'm assuming their names are just like incredibly difficult to pronounce because that's how most of Norse mythology is.
Yeah, like Mjolnir or Mjolnir, Junganir. There's a whole lot of them. Yeah, I mean, it looks like that's the ship, and the goats are going to come with them. How they travel using the Bifrost abilities within the Stormbreaker itself.
Yeah.
But
I do want to point out that back when we had Valkyrie, she looked miserable. Like she's the king of New Asgard. She wants to be fighting. She wants to be in the throes of conflict. And she's stuck there trying to rule this tourist attraction now.
But that leads into my like, why? Why are they leaving New Asgard in that goat-led ship? We might have a clue to why. Something that happened in it. Everything's out of order. Trailers are always out of order.
Oh, yeah.
So this is jumping to the very end. I won't say everything about the very end for a second here, but there's a huge fight that we see. A huge fight going on with these like ant, spider, tentacle. Couldn't really make out exactly what they were creatures.
Yeah. These dark, tentacly,
big
monsters.
Alien-looking things.
Big teeth, big arms. Yeah.
I'm imagining that those may be the minions of Gore the God Butcher, the main villain, that were sent in to fight and go after the gods of New Asgard. I hope New Asgard doesn't fall again. We've seen Asgard fall multiple times. The actual Asgard, the ships that were Asgard, now they're on New Asgard. I don't want Asgard to fall again. I want a battle to happen. And then Valkyrie, Thor, Korg, maybe an additional person that we didn't see yet, and the reveal at the end of Lady Thor or Mighty Thor all going out together to find and stop God Butcher before he can actually come and destroy Asgard again.
Yeah. If they destroy New Asgard, they might as well bring Vision in and a Tony Stark from What If and just like take them all out in one fell swoop. All the things Marvel likes to kill off.
Yep. But yeah, so we see, before we get to the end and talk more about Lady Thor, we see them go to Olympus, where Zeus got his lightning bolt and a big, beautiful, really beautiful, like awesome CGI, like really cool place, goes there.
Yeah.
I'm curious why they're there. If they're trying to get a bit more bigger gun, like people who to fight with them to take out Gore the God Butcher, or are they going there because Gore is going there to take out the Olympians?
Yeah. And I don't know the answer to that. I feel like they don't, Zeus and his realm, they don't look ready for Gore. Now they have a lot of people, a lot of gods on their side. But it almost looked like a tourist attraction on its own because Zeus was putting on a performance with his lightning bolts, just zapping them all over the place and then catching it out of the air to great cheers. Like, he was enjoying the limelight at the time. He didn't look ready for battle. So it could be that they were looking for warriors to help them fight this new anti-god war that they're facing. They went there knowing that Zeus was this mighty hero god, and they could be disappointed.
I'm also foreseeing the interactions between Thor, the god of thunder, and Zeus, the god of lightning, to be some really funny interactions, being like, wait, the god of thunder, but you use lightning, and the god of lightning that uses these weird cartoony lightning bolts.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very fun interaction between the two, and I would love to see Olympia get really, like, a lot of fighting happening in Olympia, see new other gods that show up in the Olympian, Pantheon. Pantheon of gods there, because Marvel has used a lot of gods from that. I mean, Hercules is big in the comics. He's been used a lot, a very big character. Would love to see Hercules. I mean, maybe Hercules is the other character we see with Thor and Korg that brings them to Olympia. That's true. That's where they kind of, how they get there, or how they know how to get there to get more people to fight Gore. Who knows? That could be what happens.
Yeah, it definitely could. I can see that.
Now, one thing that we can't end without talking about at all, and I don't know if you have more points to talk about as well, but we see Mjolnir all shattered but put together, flying through the air, and caught by Jane Foster.
Yes. How
did you feel when seeing that?
I mean, so I knew that she was in the movie. I knew that she was going to be Mighty Thor. I do want to say she's labeled Mighty Thor, which I love that she's Mighty Thor, not Lady Thor. That the way that they're titling her, and in the comics she goes by Mighty Thor as well. So we can see that name is already there. I just love the contrast there. But even though I knew it was coming, it was still like, I still cheered when she reaches up and grabs Mjolnir and she showed up.
She looks good. I mean,
she does.
Pretty costume. Like, the costume looks pretty accurate, and they also it's a nice costume for, like, making her look more buff. They can obviously use CG for, like, that transformation, and I'm sure she had to do some crazy work, like celebrity workout, to get ready for the role. I'm a little apprehensive, not of Mighty Thor being in it, but of Natalie Portman. I haven't seen in a role that fits this one before, and so I want to see more. I'm going to trust. But I want to see more. It's not going to affect me going to see the movie or enjoying it. And I'm wondering how early on the transformation will happen.
Okay, so I have a theory that I'm going to go into this movie with at this point, and this is based on probably about half a second of this one teaser trailer that we just got. So I'm really diving head on into this. They waited so long to release this teaser, and we've seen it before where we were not getting a lot of information about a specific Marvel movie. And that Marvel movie was taking place shortly after another much bigger Marvel movie. And then as soon as that first one took place, then they started releasing things, and we find out that the impact of the first one had impact on the second. And I'm talking about Spider-Man Far From Home, right after Avengers Infinity War. Or Avengers Endgame?
Endgame.
Sorry, Avengers Endgame. Yeah, Avengers Endgame. And so the impact of the loss of Tony Stark and everything, and the impact on Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm wondering if it's something similar here. So Thor Love and Thunder takes place, or is being released about a month after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I'm thinking, and this has been happening in TV shows all over the place, but I'm thinking that something in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to allow an alternate reality Jane into our universe.
Interesting.
So my guess here is that this is going to be a Jane from a universe where Thor failed in the first Thor movie. So maybe he decided not to go out and fight the Destroyer. Didn't pick up the hammer. Or maybe he went out, but instead of being brave, he was running away and trying to hide, and then the Destroyer took him out when he never got a chance to prove himself worthy. Or it's Taika Waititi, so maybe he'll make some humor out of this, and maybe instead of getting hit by the car lightly, they run him right over and accidentally kill Thor. I don't know. But I'm guessing, but my prediction here, this wild theory here, is that Jane Foster from the first Thor faces off against the Destroyer to try and protect the town, tries to distract him or something. She stands in that moment and ends up being able to summon Mjolnir and become Thor. And this is from a completely different timeline.
Interesting.
Something causes her to move over into ours. She goes to defend New Asgard, which maybe she was searching for because things were different in her world, so she was looking for somewhere to go for answers. Sees this fight, tries to summon Mjolnir, but it's not here. And so Mjolnir assembles itself, sticks itself back together, and shoots to her hand.
See, I had a different theory about how this was all going to go down.
Let's hear it.
What I was thinking was, so we have New Asgard. It's a tourist place. So in my head, that means a museum. There's going to be a museum, an Asgard museum with Mjolnir with all of its pieces in like a container case. Thor is back with Jane. They're hanging out. They're in New Asgard, and New Asgard gets attacked. So Thor is out there fighting and fighting and fighting and losing. He doesn't have Stormbreaker because he buried it. He doesn't have the hammer because it's broken. And so Jane, who's an astrophysicist, decides to go and try to put Mjolnir back together. And when she puts the last piece in, it basically blows her back. And she comes back, like the camera would pan away, whatever it be. And then she stands up as Mighty Thor and has the hammer. And then the part where we see the hammer flying back is actually when Thor sees her for the first time in battle after she is having that. Granted, we might not see her come up, but like we'll see that hammer too. But I'm thinking that's what I thought, was that she would be putting Mjolnir back together for Thor, and that it treats her like she's the worthy one because she was able to put it back together.
Could be.
That's what I was thinking. Like we'll find out. Maybe we'll see more about it in another trailer, or until the movie, we might not know.
Yeah, a little over a month, and we'll be able to find the exact answer because that movie's coming out soon.
Yep. I'm excited. So
oh my God,
there was
so much.
A lot more in that trailer to talk about, different scenes, like what they mean. Thor exercising, getting fit again. All very cool, very on brand for the new direction they took Thor since Ragnarok. I'm very excited. How are you feeling?
I'm a huge fan of Ragnarok. I was not as big a fan of the first or the second Thor movie, but I feel like the third one was amazing. It's one of my top 5 Marvel films to date still. So seeing that it looks like they're trying to continue in a similar direction with this, which is kind of the style of how they're going about this movie, I am super excited. I'm a little worried that Thor is going to retire, and I think he will. I think this movie is going to see him retire. But still, I think this is going to be an amazing ride along the way, and I am super excited for it.
Me too. Me too. All right. Well, that's all the time we have right now to discuss this. Of course, there's going to be more coming out, more trailers for Thor Love and Thunder, and we will be right here discussing it each time that they come out.
We hope there'll be more. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for the Uncanny J-Men. Have a good one.
Thanks for watching.